Hello, Tom Votava here, and this is Kung Fu for NES. I've posted a YouTube video of this game before, however, this time I actually have complete footage of an entire run. And since I have recently upgraded my record on this game, I figured now is a good time to post it. This is another one of those games that I played in the NES competition on Twin Galaxies at the end of 2010. I never expected to actually break my record when I was playing this, though, because I've been trying to improve on my score from way back when for years upon years, and this just never happened. As you may or may not know, Kung Fu is a game with a lot of randomness in the boss battles in particular that makes it inevitable that you just lose before you can get too far. Because of that, what you see here is a very rare thing in the world of gaming, and something definitely worth a watch. So hopefully we have a good show in store for you here. This run was almost 2 hours long and consisted of just under 12 loops through the game. We won't show the entire content, obviously, because it gets repetitive, like most video games. But we will show a complete loop of the game here on the first loop, and then any highlights after that that I found to be particularly interesting or important. So what have we seen so far? The first level was pretty simple, right? It had just the pink enemies called grippers that if they get all the way up to touch you, they start grabbing onto your player and draining your health. And they also had, every once in a while, a knife-throwing character, which at the moment is not that big of a deal because he throws these really slow knives. On later levels, they become a major problem, but we'll see how that happens later. For now, that level was just really easy. The only thing that even was remotely interesting was the boss at the end with the little whooping stick. And he was easily defeated with a jump kick followed by a few low kicks, or punches. This second level is a bit different, as you see. All these pots and balls are dropping from the ceiling and producing different kinds of enemies. The ones with the X's produce dragons. Those are the ones that we like the most because killing a dragon is worth 2,000 points. There's also these balls of confetti like that one there. They hang from the ceiling for a while and explode if you're not fast enough at killing them. 1,000 points for those, better than nothing. Finally, there's the green snake pots, and those things are the most dangerous. They hit the ground and they turn into snakes that run towards your player, and they cannot be killed. If they form, you just have to jump over them. Anyway, the biggest deal with the snakes is not to jump over a pot while it's falling, because the snake will probably catch you out of the air. Otherwise, just kick them out of the air if you can, or jump straight up if a snake's coming at you, or you're wondering what to do. When in doubt, just jump straight up. Alright. Level 2 just ended with a very easy battle with the guy that throws boomerangs. Just like with the stick fighter, just jump kick him once and then punch him a few times, he's gone. Okay, now that we're all caught up, this third stage is a lot like the first. It just has one additional enemy than the first one does. It has these little midgets called tom-toms. They can jump at you and hit you in the head if you're ducking. It's not a huge deal because you can just stand right up and you don't even have to punch them while you're standing. If they hit you in the head while you're standing up, you kill them without any damage. Otherwise, it's just a pretty simple thing of getting across the screen without taking any more damage than necessary. You do want to be careful on this level not to take any damage, because the boss of this level isn't as easy as on other stages. If you lose a bit of health like I did here, you actually put yourself in danger, because the giant that's coming up from the left here, he can knock you out in one punch, even with that much life remaining. It's a matter of luck, and I do things like lure him to that edge space there where those 3 black lines are. That's as far as he can go to the right. I lure him there just to set up a shot. It's more of a superstition than a strategy, but I think it helps me for whatever reason. So I lure him over there and do my jump kick move, followed by a low punch. It seems to do the job for most of the time. It's just that most of the time isn't enough when you only have 4 lives. So, moral of the story, don't get hit. You'll live longer. Stage 4. Now we get into the infamous poison moths, and an even more infamous magician boss. First time through is really easy, just run on through, jump kicking the high ones and just using a normal kick in the one low one, jumping over the hole in the wall where the moth comes out. I'm going to do a little bit of point pressing here, but I'm mostly just setting up for the magician, because again, like with the giant, you want full life. Sometimes even that isn't enough with the magician. He can just take you down punch for punch. Sometimes he'll just trade blow with you, and his are always stronger than yours. So you just need to be lucky in order to survive a magician battle. He has to just not hit you. And it seems to be random. There doesn't seem to be anything you can do about it. So usually on this level, you want to just get to the boss with full life and get out. Unless by some miracle you have a lot of spare energy after that magician battle, then you could maybe point press. But it generally doesn't happen. And yes, I find it amusing that the character's name is Thomas, as is mine. Stage 5 is the last stage of the game. It features Mr. X, the kidnapper of your girlfriend Sylvia, as the final boss. All you have to do is get across the level to him, with the usual sets of enemies. In fact, it's even shorter than most levels, because if you get halfway through the level, the enemies stop coming. All you have to do is get to this little yellow and black ceiling marker, and once you're past it, enemies will only come from the right. And for the most part, you can outrun them. Just usually kill a knife fighter first, and maybe get a few extra points, but then outrun them to here, they can't get past. And all that's left is the final fight. Mr. X, he's kind of hard to kill. He can block every move you have, and the only way to get him is to take him by surprise. And what's confusing about that is that it's difficult to surprise him. He is in the middle of a move, and you can kick him while he's in the middle of a move, and maybe you'll hit him. Doesn't always work. But anyway, we'll see more battles with Mr. X as we go, because he can be a bit of a time clock drainer. It's possible to lose just because he just won't die. It doesn't happen to me much, but it always seems to come down to the wire. And what you want is for him to die quickly so you can point press here. As you can see from my score, I'm about to get 250,000 points from this one loop through the game, and that's not even my best. I've actually had 280,000 after the first loop, if everything goes right. So how do you get that many points in one loop? The enemies aren't really that valuable, so what's the trick? There's all this point pressing I keep talking about. Well, it comes down to a little trick involving the grippers and the number of enemies you kill. Every 12th enemy can be killed for 5,000 points if it is a gripper. As you see, I've gotten a couple bonuses already. You just have to follow the count. We'll wait until we get a 5,000 and I'll just show it to you. It's coming up here. Okay, 5,000. So we start from 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, jump kick. 12th enemy's worth 5,000, and it's just every 12th enemy. Now, the challenge is when the enemies don't give you a gripper as the 12th man. You have to be very careful not to kill anything else as the 12th man, like a knife fighter, for example, or a tom-tom, a poison moth, a snake pot, anything else. It has to be a gripper, even if you don't jump kick him. As soon as you kill something else as the 12th enemy besides a gripper, the 5,000 bonuses stop until you reach the next level. So anyway, this first stage is mostly just an exercise in counting to 12 and making sure you don't get hit too much. 3 knives kill you, so make sure you don't get hit by knives. Make sure the stick fighter doesn't get any cheap shots, and you can usually get about 50,000 points. Point pressing stage 2 is obviously really simple. Just keep kicking the dragons and the confetti balls until you're low on time. You could move to the second half of the level and fight grippers again and get your bonuses, but this is actually more profitable. It's also a little bit dangerous. Be careful not to get hit by any of the balls or the pots, or you might not have enough life to finish the level. But overall, it's quite profitable. At the highest speeds, you can get about 70,000 points on this stage. Stage 3 is a dangerous place to point press, as I mentioned earlier. However, that doesn't mean you should just outright avoid the opportunity to get your bonuses from the grippers. The only important thing is to keep moving forward. Take the opportunities as they come, but get to the boss and take him out. Then see how much energy you have left. With enough energy to spare, you can point press until the clock runs out. If you're short, just run to the next stage. Here we see the moth stage again. For the first 3 loops through the game, the same pattern always works. We're on the second loop here, so just run, jump kick a couple times, piece of cake. The only issue is the magician, so once again we're going to get in and out of the level as fast as possible. One note about the gripper bonus. Here we're counting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then there's 11. There's 12. Now, notice what happened there. We shook a couple of enemies off. Any enemies you shake off do not count. That's important because you don't want to end up accidentally killing the 12th man as anything other than a gripper. It ends up being important here because of how quickly I kill Mr. X, getting a lot of extra bonus points on this round. Anyway, I think now you've got a good feel for how the game goes and what the strategy is. Now we'll get to some highlights. Here's a sample of loop 3 with the moths, just to prove I wasn't lying. Same old pattern works. Barely. But trust me, that moth will never catch you if you keep running. Here's another unusual gripper bonus. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Threw all those away. 10, 11. Got knifed. And boom. Okay, loop 4 with the moths. Now the moths are too fast to just run right through, so we have to come up with this other pattern of killing every single moth that appears. Now, this pattern we're going to use for the rest of the game when it comes to the moth stage. You gotta just work your way slowly through the first 2 holes, and then after that you can run through. You have to stand in exactly the right places as you make it through those moths as well. If you stand too far in one direction, then you might make an extra hole appear on the screen and get attacked from 2 sides. After killing that magician, I had plenty of life left, so I decided to stick around and point press my way to 1,000,000 points. Didn't quite get my bonuses the way I wanted, but oh well. And now we're in loop 5, once again on stage 4. In case you haven't noticed, we're always showing stage 4 because it's the hardest level in the game. It is also the level that I think is what makes this game impossible to play forever. Hopefully you'll be able to pick something up from this video and master this game and prove me wrong. Welcome to Loop 6. This is where the difficulty maxes out. Although it isn't going to get any harder, that's not necessarily good news, because this game plays at high speed like crazy from here on out. And here's a quick sample of the rate of ball drop in Stage 2 at max difficulty. And just to prove that I wasn't joking about how hard this gets, check out the life meter. This is the beginning of the end of life number 1. Pretty much only a perfect shot against the giant, which is, as far as I can tell, 100% luck. Only a perfect shot against that would save me here. So, knowing that I was probably going to die, I spent a little extra time point pressing here. Probably could have done a little more, but I decided to go for it. No luck. This reinforces rule number 1. Don't get hit. And here we go again with the moths. Loop number 6. And here's our first example of how the magician can try and cheat you. Normally, the magician will just walk right up to you and let you punch him, but this time he's assigned a pace. Almost got killed here as well. Loop 7 gameplay. Here we have an extended piece of the giant level, just to show how not to die. And now I'll make a promise. This is the last poison moth you'll see in this video. Let's concentrate on the magician, since that's the real problem with this game. For some reason, when you reach loop 6 and higher levels, he becomes a real jerk, and just is out to get you no matter what your strategy. I've tried all sorts of things, but every once in a while something like that happens. Death number 2. Anyway, regroup. Let's try that again. 1.8 million points on 2 men. I'm not about to quit now. And once again, the magician tries to trade punches with me, but this time, just barely enough to survive. And just to prove that Mixture X is no pushover either, we have this. Not sure if Loop 6 has anything to do with it here either, because he sometimes goes down quickly, even now. But sometimes, no matter how hard you try, you just have to try a whole bunch of moves before something actually works. Incidentally, look at his life meter. It seems to be gradually increasing. I'm not quite sure how he's able to do that. Does he have some sort of mystical power that we're not aware of? Unfair. So take that. Okay, we've reached loop 8, and we're on the brink of scoring 2 million points. My goal of breaking my old record of 2.7 million points, it looks like it's within reach, but trust me, I've been this far before with more men and failed. I wasn't thinking that this was going to be easy. Too many things can still go wrong. Besides the magician, the other thing that always worries me late in the game is the giant. I've got a little bit of energy there. I don't know if it's enough. I was lucky enough that it was, but you get nervous at this point in the game. Here the magician tries another trick, running away, but I was able to stop him from running by punching him. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, but it was very fortunate that it happened, because now I actually get the point press for a little bit. Doesn't happen much on this stage, but I got a full life meter, and it's safe to do so. And also unusual is that I actually have the gripper bonuses working for me. Normally, in the battle with a magician, something throws it off, such as a fireball or a moth. And here's loop 9, 2.3 million and counting. And a scary moment. Why, oh why did that knife have to hit? That was almost the end of another life. That nervous moment was followed by this. Part nerves, part dirty, rotten, cheating magician at work here. Death number 3. So now the pressure's on. One last life with 400,000 points to go to get to the record. They have to beat at least 2 more magicians to do it. And I just barely beat the first one. I also tend to get a little wild with my technique when I'm nervous, so even simple things like playing through the Mr. X level start to become a challenge. Get surrounded by a couple of knife fighters that I normally wouldn't. Shake up a few enemies that I should have punched. Jumping over a knife that was thrown high. You won't see that every day. It got worse here, where I took some extra damage and ended up locked in this stalemate with Mr. X. Sometimes, no matter how many times you kick him, he just won't go down. And in this case, things got really serious because of that. If he doesn't go down in the next few timer units, I'm a dead man. Come on. Come on. Oh, finally. And we just barely make it. That was fun. Don't ever do that again. I finally settled down as I entered Loop 10. Had a couple of nondescript first couple of levels, and now it comes down to this. I've been averaging roughly 250,000 per loop. If I clear these next couple of stages and beat the Giant and Magician, I will probably get the record, I figure. So once I reached the Giant, my first thought was, okay, hold your breath, just don't screw it up, take your time, and then breathe. Okay, still alive, barely. And then the second moment of truth, the 10th Magician. And not so amusingly, I almost get killed by the knife fighter after killing him. Could have done without that. That aside, this was it. This is the big moment where now it looks like I'm going to win. And as predicted, there's the record right here. This is the beginning of Loop 11, the first stage. 2,733,000 and counting. Now I can relax and just see how far I can push the record. The nerves finally go away at this point. And now I think I'm going to die. 2 surprise knives and a giant looming. I figured it's not going to happen. This is the end. I've got my record, I've got a couple extra points, and that's where it stops. The only chance I have is if I get really lucky with the giant not doing damage. Oh man. I can never believe this, even now. Look at that life meter. Do I have one? Somehow I'm still alive after that blow. I don't get it. We're still playing. So how do you follow that? Well, how about killing one more magician so we can get more points? How about it? Yeah, that's right. Now I'm ecstatic, because 3 million actually sounds doable. And just to show that we're going to make it, here's the ending of Loop 11. And something I haven't shown you yet is how the ending improves if you beat the game more than once. So, you've seen the final moment, but here it is again, only slightly different. Hint, count the hearts. So here we are on loop 12, and I just did something really stupid. Look at the clock. Just starting my boss battle now, and I managed to screw it up and take some damage. Clock is running out. I'm nearly dead, and even after surviving the battle, clock's running out. Just barely in time. I think maybe I should point press a little bit less than that next time. So having survived that, here comes your 3 million points. One more battle against the giant. No damage this time. That could have come in handy earlier. And since the video is almost over, you must have guessed this, I'm about to die. The 12th Magician is going to do me in for the last time, after a score of over 3.1 million points. And just for the record, in case you didn't know, I hate snakes. Anyway, thank you for watching this video, and we will see you again.